Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Principal of UWI's Five Islands campus in Antigua, high in praise for the government there. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 29th October 2021. Details when we return.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the food fair from anywhere in the world and you can receive here in Grenada? The food fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
Welcome back. Principal of the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus in Antigua, Professor Denzel Williams, says it is poised to revolutionize the way the country develops its human capital. More in this ABS News item.
Very soon, Five Islands will be the next St. John. As in, people will be coming over to Five Islands at night because that's where going to be they're going to be the entertainment spot, the restaurants, the bars, all kinds of activities that is happening at the university, sporting activities that will be happening when we build out our sporting centers.
A grandiose vision for the future of a campus which Professor Williams says will drive national development. He says an investment plan to be discussed with the university's council envisions an expanded campus with thousands of students and faculty in the next decade.
We're looking at a 5,000 strong campus in terms of student numbers over the next, I would say, decade or so. We can reach there before, depending on how things shape up. So with about 5,000 students and about another 1,500 staff and faculty, we're looking at about a plant that is carrying about 6,000, 7,000 people on any ordinary day. And so to do that, we have to expand the physical plant as well.
Even as those plans have been devised, Professor Williams is also reflecting on how the campus came to be at Five Islands in the first place. He praises the government for conceiving the idea of a landed campus in Antigua and Barbuda as he referenced the inspirational story of the valedictorian at this year's graduation ceremony.
That story of a Nadine Jean-Pierre will be the story of many other persons who now can take a bus ride, can still maintain their jobs, can still do all the necessary stuff and get an education at the same time. I think it was a stroke of genius to identify that you needed an institutional arrangement like the UWI Five Islands campus located in your vicinity so that you can provide affordable and high quality education to your people at the very minimum cost so that they can actually transform themselves and their society. I think you can't have a better vision than that.
He explains the process to get a campus takes significant work and the government had to show commitment.
Luckily for us in Antigua and Barbuda, the government, as I said, put up their hands and said, listen, we are ready and we have a facility that we think we can repurpose. Interestingly, I would like to note this, that when we started understanding how you're going to evolve as a campus and, kind of vision the campus over the next decade and a half and so, and we invited our planning partners in the physical planning business to come and talk to us about, how we can achieve our vision over the next decade or so of, building out our campus. And they made an important observation. They said a lot of universities that we have worked with over the last 70 years or so, they have started in high school facilities and they have evolved now to these wonderful and beautiful, aesthetically pleasing campuses that we have. And so I laughed because I said, but this is exactly where we are at Five Islands.
It's been a little over 2 years since the campus began operations. Professor Williams says the future is pregnant with promise and possibilities.
Think about it. Could you think about Barbados without a Cave Hill campus?
Difficult.
Just think about one for a moment. Couldn't you think about Jamaica without a Mona campus?
Difficult.
Could you think about Trinidad without a St. Augustine campus? Very difficult for you to do that. Well, this is exactly what we're thinking about for our Five Islands campus in Antigua and Barbuda. When we build out this campus and get the campus to be completely involved in the society and the entire economy of Antigua and Barbuda, it is going to be very difficult for someone to think and say, How did we exist without a university campus?
Minister in Barbados' Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, has strongly denied accusations that government was paid millions of dollars to vaccinate Barbadians. More in this Barbados Today news item.
Strawn described the allegations as nonsense and insulting. And while he did not call anyone by name during the debate in Parliament on Tuesday on the Debt Settlement Arrears Bill 2021, Strawn said he was disappointed that someone in public office would make such baseless and false statements.
I don't typically allow my emotions to show on my sleeve. But this government, sir, has worked too hard, and I certainly, sir, have worked too hard over the course of the last 20 months or so to try to give Barbadians, sir, a sense of calm, assurance, sir, with respect to the nature of the conduct of the affairs of this country and this government on their behalf, sir. To allow persons who I say quite frankly, sir, who should know better, ought to know better, and that it is disappointing to see things being said in the way that they're being said, sir, as to suggest that this government is somehow complicit in some grand, nefarious conspiracy to expose Barbadians.
Strawn maintained that all financing required by government had been sought through the correct channels and had been brought to Parliament for approval.
As far as I'm concerned, seeking to go out and mislead the public, that this government was promised money, received money, and if I heard correctly, sir, there was an assertion that the government, through the Ministry of Finance, received $261 million that we ain't got to pay back, sir. If I heard properly. And sir, to my certain knowledge, and this says so, sir, categorically today, I can say to you, through you, sir, to the leader of the opposition, to all the members of this place, to all the members of the other place, and certainly, sir, to every single Barbadian, to assert that this government has received $261 million that it does not have to repay, sir, when I, sir, do not know of any monies that we have received.
Is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
A standard fee of $3 will be charged for the use of a debit card at an ATM that is not for the corresponding bank of the issued card. That's according to the governor of Barbados' central bank, Cliverston Haynes, who stated that the measure will go into effect on November 1st.
He explained that carrying out a transaction at a place of business using the point of sale system will not attract a fee.
In terms of the rates that we have looked at, as you're aware, if you use your own ATM, at present that is free, and that will continue to be free. If, however, you use another ATM of another bank, there is a charge. My understanding is those charges have gone as high as $6.50, and therefore we have indicated to the banks of this and the credit unions that this charge should be capped at no more than $3. Also, when you use your point-of-sale card at a merchant, some ATM, some banks is free, but for others there was a charge. but effective November 1, there will be no charge for using your Visa debit card or MasterCard at a merchant.
Haynes said the capping of the ATM fee at $3 is a first step, as the central bank was aware of the complaints from residents about high bank fees associated with debit card transactions.
The bank recognizes that these fees do raise the cost of banking services and considers that high fees for the use of digital banking services may serve to undermine the national efforts to reduce the use of physical cash and increase reliance on digital transactions. The bank has therefore taken the opportunity to review the fees that banks charge each other as proposed by Visa and MasterCard. And following discussions with the banks and the credit unions, the bank has decided to intervene in the pricing of debit card transactions. This initial intervention is intended to standardize the interchange rate for Visa, MasterCard debit card transactions and to cushion the impact of the increased fees on depositors and hopefully the business sector. The bank will continue to monitor the impact of these fees and reserves the right for further intervention.
Jamaica's opposition leader Mark Golding has insisted that the government should not be making changes to the Emergency Powers Act at this time when there are constitutional questions about the use of states of emergency. More in this TVJ News report with Vashon Brown.
The government has been insisting that both the Emergency Powers Act and the Emergency Public Security Act, which were enacted in 1938 and 1939 respectively, are in need of reform. But the opposition leader says he has fundamental concerns. Firstly, he argues that the constitutional validity of the government's use of states of emergency in crime fighting is being tested in the courts.
The government has appealed a Supreme Court decision that essentially declared that the use of the state of emergency device in that way is unconstitutional. And the government has not attempted to impose any states of emergency since that court ruling. There is also another case before the court, this one challenging the constitutionality of the state of emergency in St. James. That case has not yet been heard, but is scheduled to be heard in the Constitutional Court over 3 days in mid-December.
In light of those court cases, he argues that it is concerning that the government has brought the bills to Parliament, especially with what he calls lingering constitutional questions. He says this course of action by the government shows a lack of respect for the separation of powers doctrine.
Parliament should first see what the Court of Appeal has to say about this important matter, and indeed what the Constitutional Court has to say about it in the other case I referred to. To be amending the Emergency Powers Act now, an enactment which is integral to and will be impacted by the court challenge to the government's use of the state of emergency, is, in my opinion, premature and presumptuous.
But Justice Minister Delroy Chuck fired back, arguing that he was disappointed by the opposition leader's comments.
But with due respect, Leader of the Opposition, you have completely misinterpreted the case of Douglas, where Justice Bertram Morrison emphatically said that he cannot rule on the constitutionality of the state of emergency because only a tribunal of 3 can consider the constitutional. And he said it.
The government, Madam Speaker, has a duty to protect the Constitution as well. And if in the execution of that duty, we see anything that could suggest a breach of the Constitution or an imperfection in the law, it is our duty. We shouldn't have to wait on a court to tell us. It is our duty to act in the defense and protection of the people's right and the Constitution.
After the debate, the changes to the bills were passed. Vashon Brown, TVJ News.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable, and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.